friends, welcome back to Food Prep Guide. If someone told you that you could make zucchini taste like canned pineapple, or that you could turn a huge pile of sweet peppers into something that tastes like bruschetta in a jar, would you believe them? Today I'm sharing 7 water bath canning recipes that are going to completely change the way you think about what's possible in a water bath canner. We are not going to talk about jam or pickles in this video, just 7 genuinely exciting recipes that you're going to want to add to your shelf this season. Before we jump in, I want to say this once right here at the top so I don't have to keep repeating myself throughout the video. Please adjust your processing times based on your elevation. Every time I give you a processing time today, that is going to be for 1,000 feet elevation or below. If you're above that, head over to the National Center for Home Food Preservation, look up your elevation and the appropriate time. Okay, let's get to it. Recipe number 1, let's start with the one that probably made some of you do a double take when you first heard me say it, and that is pineapple zucchini. So the concept is you take fresh zucchini, peel it, cut it into chunks, and process it in a brine made of pineapple juice, lemon juice, and sugar. The end result is something that genuinely tastes like canned pineapple. But we are talking about zucchini here, so why is this okay for water bath canning? Because zucchini on its own is a low acid vegetable, which means you normally can't safely water bath can it. But pineapple juice and lemon juice in this recipe bring the acidity level up enough to make it safe. So for the brine, you're going to be working with a 64-ounce jug of pineapple juice, 1.5 cups of lemon juice, and 3 cups of sugar. Bring all that to a boil. Add your peeled and chunked zucchini and simmer for 20 minutes. And then fill your jars to 1/2-inch headspace and water bath can for 15 minutes. One tip here on the zucchini variety is that any zucchini is going to work, but if you grow the vining type, it is called zucchini rampicante. I know many people have asked me that. Another name is trumpet squash. You can get a much larger harvest since it can be trellised, and it's easier to keep healthy. I have found it stands up to the squash bugs and squash vine borers a lot better too. Also, with this variety, the seeds are all concentrated in the bulb end, so you can just cut that off instead of scooping seeds out of the whole zucchini like in your traditional Black Beauty zucchini. Now, the recipe is built around 1 64-ounce jug of juice because that's just the standard kind of juice amounts. The yield is going to depend on how much zucchini that you have. Whatever zucchini doesn't fit in your jars, you can pour the remaining brine, if you have some, right over it, refrigerate it, and just snack on it fresh. Or you can soak the zucchini in juice in the fridge for a couple of days and then dehydrate it for a chewy, dried pineapple type of like a trail mix treat. This recipe is a favorite among our kiddos. By the way, if it feels like I'm moving too fast, please note that we have full-length videos dedicated to all of the recipes in this video, and I will link them in the description box. Okay, recipe number 2 is sweet onion relish. This one has been one of the most requested recipes on this channel, and honestly, once you taste it, I think you'll understand why. This is a sweet onion relish made with apple cider vinegar, which kind of sounds weird, but it's incredible. We made 24 pints last June, and they lasted our family almost exactly 1 year, so that's what my recipe is now made for. So you'll need 25 pounds of onions. Go ahead and weigh that with the skins on, like before you chop them. Once you peel and trim, you're going to end up with around 24 pounds or slightly less of actual onion going into the jars, which works out to roughly 1 pound of onion per pint. You're going to run all of those onions through a food processor to get them nice and minced. After you process the onions, you want to salt them using 10 tablespoons of salt, and then let them sit for about 45 minutes to draw out the moisture. Then you're going to rinse, drain it well, and set them aside. For the brine, you need 10 cups of apple cider vinegar and 5 cups of sugar. Then 5 tablespoons of mustard seed and 5 teaspoons of dry mustard powder. I'm going to say that again because I made the mistake of using tablespoons for both 1 year and the whole batch was ruined. So that's 5 tablespoons of mustard seed, but 5 teaspoons for dry mustard powder. Bring the brine to a boil, add your onions, bring it back to a boil, and then simmer for 20 to 30 minutes. You'll also notice that this relish takes on like a pink, almost like a pink kind of orange hue during cooking. That is totally normal and exactly how it's supposed to look. Once you have simmered for 20 to 30 minutes, that's it. Just fill your jars to 1/2-inch headspace and water bath can for 15 minutes. One of my favorite uses for this is a mix-in for cold pasta salads, but it's really great on burgers and hot dogs as well. So let me pause right here and say real quick that if these are sounding pretty tasty, but you don't feel confident enough in your canning experience to branch out and try them, I want to invite you to take our online self-paced canning 101 masterclass. You can move through it at your own pace and you will feel more confident in your understanding of canning safety. Okay, recipe number 3 is a chili base. This one is a must-have for pantry meal prep, and it's something you can build a lot of different meals around. The idea is that instead of canning a complete pot of chili, which locks you into one dish, you're canning a deeply seasoned tomato base without the meat or beans. Now, the one jar can quickly become chili when you add a pint of canned beans and a pint of canned ground beef, but it also can become chili mac, loaded baked potatoes, chili cheese fries, smothered burritos, or even a quick enchilada sauce if you stir in a little bit of tomato powder or tomato paste to thicken it up. That's the kind of flexibility that makes meal prep feel effortless. So for this chili base, you're going to start with 2 number 10 cans of tomato sauce. This is going to give you a big head start versus having to process 20 pounds of tomatoes. Then add 4 cans of diced tomatoes with green peppers, 6 tablespoons of sugar, and 1 cup of taco seasoning. Bring all that to a boil, then lower to a simmer and simmer for about 25 minutes. Then when you're filling your quart jars, this recipe is meant for quart jars, by the way, you're going to add the following seasonings directly to each quart jar. 1 teaspoon of canning salt, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of minced garlic, and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice as your acidifier. Also, skim off any foam off the top of your sauce before filling your jars and make sure you debubble thoroughly since we're adding some of the ingredients directly to each jar. Fill to 1-inch headspace and water bath can for 40 minutes for quarts. Okay, recipe number 4 is blueberry syrup, and fair warning, this is the kind of recipe that makes you want to stop buying the store-bought stuff. It comes from the Complete Ball Book of Home Preserving, and it starts with 3 quarts of blueberries and 2 cups of water. Bring that to a boil, mash the berries well, then lower to a simmer for 12 minutes. After that, you strain the juice through cheesecloth or a nut milk bag. I usually do this by hanging a nut milk bag on my cabinet door handle and let it drip into a bowl and just let gravity do most of the work for about an hour. Every 20 minutes or so, I come by and I twist the bag and kind of like clip it down to where it's tighter and squeezes out more of the juice. Side note real quick, don't toss the leftover pulp during this process. It makes a great blueberry butter if you want to stretch this project into a second recipe. So once you have your juice, you make a simple syrup separately. That's going to be 3 cups of sugar to 1 cup of water. Bring that to a boil and cook uncovered for 20 minutes. Then you'll add the strained blueberry juice along with 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. Return to a boil and simmer uncovered for 5 more minutes. Every now and then, I will also add some pumpkin pie spice, usually about 1 to 2 teaspoons. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but it tastes pretty good with the pumpkin pie spice as well. Skim off any foam before you fill your jars. Fill half-pint jars to a 1/4-inch headspace and water bath can for 10 minutes. The syrup is great over pancakes, but we use it more often stirred into our oatmeal or yogurt to give it more flavor. Okay, recipe number 5 is mild salsa. Now, this is the recipe I tested for years before I felt confident enough to put it into my go-to recipe book. Only the best of the best make it into my personal recipe book, and this one finally made the cut. If your family loves salsa but doesn't like it really spicy, this one's for you. There are no jalapenos and no hot chili peppers, but intensely flavorful nonetheless with a bit of tang from apple cider vinegar. Now, the apple cider vinegar is not optional here, by the way. It makes a real difference in the flavor, and it also serves as your primary acidifier, which is really important in water bath canning. The recipe makes about 13 pints, and you're going to need 16 cups of peeled and diced tomatoes. Quick tip here, if you freeze your garden tomatoes throughout the season, the skins slip off effortlessly once you put the frozen tomatoes in a pot of water for 10 to 15 minutes. No blanching needed. So if you just kind of thaw them out for 10 to 15 minutes, those skins slip right off. You can also save them dehydrate them, and turn them into tomato powder. Okay, on with the recipe. So the rest of the recipe is 5 cups of chopped onions, 3 cups of chopped peppers, 10 teaspoons of minced garlic, 4 teaspoons of cumin, 3 teaspoons of black pepper, a quarter cup of canning salt, 2/3 cup of sugar, 2 cups of apple cider vinegar, 2 16-ounce cans of tomato sauce, and 2 16-ounce cans of tomato paste. An important safety note real quick, don't increase the amount of peppers, onions, or garlic in this recipe. These are your low acid ingredients, and the safety of this recipe, being that it's a water bath canning recipe, depends on keeping that ratio balanced with your acidic ingredients. You can go lower on them if you want, but not higher. So you're going to bring it all to a boil and boil for 10 minutes, and that's it. So fill your jars to 1/2-inch headspace and water bath can for 15 minutes. In case I didn't say it, it is pints. Okay, recipe number 6 is strawberry sauce. This is quickly becoming my favorite way to put up strawberries. Besides the flavor, one big reason is because you don't need a big harvest all at once to make it. Most jam recipes require you to have a pretty large batch of fruit before you can start, but this recipe works with whatever you have, even if it's just 2 to 3 pounds. But we're just going to work in a ratio. So the ratio is 5 pounds of strawberries to 1 cup sugar, 1 cup pineapple juice, and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. You can scale that up or down based on how many pounds that you have on hand. And I know the pineapple juice sounds strange, but it pairs well with strawberries in a way that's really hard to describe until you try it. It also helps with the acidity, which makes this recipe safe for water bath canning. So first, you're going to hull and crush your strawberries. Mix in the sugar, pineapple juice, and lemon juice. Bring it slowly to a boil, and you do want to stir this one frequently because it can scorch easily. Then boil hard for 5 minutes, and that's it for the cooking part. For canning, you're going to fill 1/2 pint jars to 1/2-inch headspace and water bath or steam can for 10 minutes. Quick, small batch canning recipes like these are ideal for steam canning. And for me, it's so much easier to whip that out than filling my huge canner up with water. Anyway, I love this recipe for all sorts of things. It's not jam, so no pectin, no thickeners. It's not a syrup either, since it doesn't use a ton of sugar and it just doesn't have that syrupy texture. It's somewhere in between and genuinely tastes like strawberries instead of just sugar. I've been canning this in 1/2 pint jars because we mainly use it as a pancake topping, a yogurt or oatmeal mix-in, or an ice cream drizzle, just anywhere that you would want a small amount of concentrated strawberry flavor. Okay, recipe number 7. This one I saved for last. And number 1, it's special to me because it's the first canning recipe I ever developed. But number 2, because it's the first recipe I ever developed, and I want to be upfront about that. This is not a tested, officially approved recipe. If you are brand new to canning, please come back to this one after you've built up some experience and understand safe canning practices. But if you're a seasoned canner who understands pH safety, stay with me because this might be the most exciting one on the list. This inspiration came from a recipe that was circulating in canning groups that they were calling sandwich spread. But when I looked at it, I could immediately see that it wasn't safe for water bath canning, and just the pepper to acid ratio was off. So instead of scrapping the idea entirely, I went back to the National Center for Home Food Preservation's tested salsa ratios, and I basically rebuilt the recipe using those as my guide for acidity safety. What you end up with is something that tastes like bruschetta in a jar. Heavy on sweet peppers with tomatoes, basil, and garlic, but with an Italian flair instead of a Mexican one. It is packed with flavor. This recipe makes between 12 to 13 half-pint jars. You'll need 11 cups of minced sweet bell peppers, 6 cups of chopped tomatoes, 1/2 cup of chopped onion, 3 tablespoons of fresh minced basil, 3 teaspoons of minced garlic, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 2 cups of red wine vinegar at a 5% acidity or higher. That red wine vinegar is what makes this recipe safe, so don't substitute it. I do recommend taste testing this recipe, not taste testing, just testing this recipe with pH strips before canning. I do this every single time because tomatoes vary in acidity Peppers can vary a little bit, and I wouldn't want to can this for my own family without confirming that we are numerically below 4.6 on the pH scale. So to cook, you just bring everything to a boil, then lower to a simmer and simmer for 30 minutes, and that's it. Fill half-pint jars to half-inch headspace and process for 15 minutes. As for uses, you can stir a half pint into about a cup of mayonnaise and you'll have a cold pasta salad sauce. It is so good. You can use it to make a quick spaghetti sauce. All you have to do is add a can or two of tomato paste. You can spread it on sandwiches. You can use it anywhere that you would bruschetta. It is so good. Okay, there you have it. 7 water bath canning recipes that go way beyond jams and pickles. From pineapple zucchini that no one will believe is actually a zucchini, to a bruschetta style spread that uses a big pepper harvest in the most delicious way possible. There really is so much more you can do with a water bath canner. Don't forget, if any of these recipes caught your eye, the full-length videos for each individual one will be linked in the description box, along with the link to our online self-paced canning masterclass. That's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Bye!